Could I add my congratulations to the noble Lord Rose, on his excellent maiden speech. We look forward to his future muscular contribution. My Lords, the autumn statement goes like this. The Chancellor stands up and says what a wonderful job he has done. The opposition responds with a ritualistic attack. There's no sanction for the government having missed all its targets. Neither is the would-be Prime Minister dismissed for showing basic economic illiteracy, nor the Prime Minister censured for his previous comment, "We are paying down Britain's debts." Let's look at some of the promises made versus the outcomes achieved. We were promised a deficit of 35 billion this year. It's 100 billion. We were told debt would fall to 67% of GDP next year. Now the OBR tell us it will be well over 80%. At last the welfare beast was going to be slain with 19 billion of promised savings. Instead, spending this year will be the same in real terms as 2010. We were promised that there would be restraint in public spending. This year is 42.5% of GDP, higher than Alistair Darling planned in his final budget. And next year, it will be 732 billion, counting for inflation. That's almost exactly the same as in 2010. Any one of these failures would be instantly sackable offence in the private sector, but bear no immediate penalty in democratic politics. As a businessman, it seems to me that in the political world there is a disconnect between words and deeds. My Lords, we can debate the autumn statement all we like, but the reality of our country's financial situation is this. Government debt is now 1.4 trillion, double its level in 2010. Unfunded pensions is double this amount. Bank debt is even more. And private sector debt, mortgages, households, business, adds another layer. Then there's debt off balance sheet private finance initiative, which politicians like to pretend isn't debt, even though it really is. On any basis, our debts are 600% of GDP. This makes us one of the most indebted countries in the world. Given this, it might be worth looking at the system which has produced these results. It strikes me, my Lords, that the skills a politician needs to succeed in a democracy are increasingly irrelevant to those required to run a country. In a media-obsessed world, voters want politicians with good personal appearance, likability, communication skills, and of course, promising nice things. In what way are these connected to running a country? What the country needs are skills in getting things done, managing people, finance and economics, and most of all, total honesty, the basis for solving all problems. But I do feel a certain sympathy for my colleagues in the other place. As we all know, in a modern democracy, it's impossible to speak hard truths and get elected. For example, we all sensed that the extra 2 billion which the Chancellor's promised the NHS won't solve its long-term problems. It needs wholesale reform. But who dares say so? To say so risks the accusation of failing to support the NHS, or worse, of advocating its privatisation. This, my Lords, is the great hypocrisy of our times. People complain about the dishonesty of politicians, yet any politician who spoke the truth would be annihilated in the polls. All truth is good, goes the proverb, but not all truth is good to say. This is what Jean-Claude Juncker meant when he said, "We know what to do, but we don't know how to get re-elected once we've done it." So our politics is stuck. Benefits, votes, debt. Europe has 7% of the world's population, but 50% of its welfare spending. Is this sustainable? What happens if it isn't? Over the past 50 years, my lords, voters have been given ever more benefits and public services. But here is the great paradox of our time. Nobody's happy. People today loathe politicians. We can see it all around us and in other European countries. But no one questions the system in which politicians operate. People hate the practice, but never question the theory. I wonder whether one day the autumn statement and tit-for-tat debate which follows will be held to serve no purpose, where politicians will be held to account in the world of financial reality rather than that of electoral politics, where it won't be possible to miss targets or spin figures, where cliché and ritualistic attack is no longer acceptable, where excellence, ability to deliver and doing things properly are held to be the greater virtues. Let's hope that should that time come, it won't be too late.
My lords, I enjoyed that speech. I also now want to join in welcoming Lord Rose. Comment.